So welcome everybody to the latest Jodo webinar. Today we have the absolute pleasure to be talking to Benjamin Rey, or Benjamin, I should say, talking about his website Ilini, and we're going to be looking at lots of different ways in which we can use authentic videos in the languages classroom to bring the languages to life. Today is the 28th of February 2022, and it's my absolute pleasure to be introducing Benjamin to the stage. Thank you for doing this, Benjamin, and we're really looking forward to learning with you. And I would love people to write questions in the chat. As per normal, I'll be collecting the questions. It's helpful to me if you put the letter Q in front of your question. Can I ask you to turn off your microphone, please? Modeling. Thank you. Okay, brilliant. Okay, and yeah, over to you, Benjamin.
Well, thanks a lot, Joe. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm really so happy to see all these names and countries in the chat box. This is really great, and I'm very excited. Very happy to be doing this with you, Joe, as well. If you remember, we met a few years ago at the language show in London, and so it's great to have kept in touch and be organizing this webinar. So I'm the founder. My name is Benjamin, yes, in French, Benjamin. You can call me Ben, whatever you like. I'm the founder of Ilini. Ilini is an online platform that provides authentic videos and activities for French language classes. Every week, we select new video clips from the French media, including news, culture, music, entertainment, to help you as teachers make French feel real, feel current, feel relevant for students. And as I'm going to show you, we enrich these videos with online interactive tools and with printable activities as well, both for individual learners, for self-study, and for teachers, bringing you ideas of videos and saving you considerable class preparation time. So for me, the objectives of this webinar is, well, first to show you what Ilini is and how it works and what's in there for you. But then what I would very much like to do is have a discussion, as you mentioned, Joe, on how to best use authentic videos to enrich the French curriculum. And we'll bring in our experience as resource editors and I would very much like to hear your ideas and your experience as teachers. And I think we can have a great conversation like this. So, well, as is customary, a few words about myself. I'm Benjamin. As I mentioned. Before creating Ilini, I worked for the European Parliament for 9 years in a very multicultural, multilingual environment. And this is really what brought me to creating Ilini, actually. I've always loved learning languages. As early as from high school, I studied English and Spanish in my French high school. But I also borrowed Arabic and Russian course books from the library to study on my own. And languages are really what got me into professional life. I wanted to discover the world, and that's why I studied political science. Actually, I was very interested in political and social issues. I traveled a bit, I lived abroad, and after I graduated, I started working on foreign policy for the European Union. My job was basically to write briefings, lots of them, and also to travel on official trips abroad with parliamentarians. And so languages were very important, and I loved learning languages, as I mentioned. But the problem that I had as a learner was that I found that most methods were too theoretical for me. The reason I've been studying languages is to discover new ways of life and culture, and not necessarily for the love of grammar. So I wanted to be exposed to that culture early on. It was important for my motivation to learn languages, and it was also important for me to be exposed to real life content, to improve my oral understanding of real life spoken language, to learn vocabulary in real life context rather than dry lists of words. And so that is how the idea of Ilini came about. As part of my job, I would do one thing every day, that was read and watch the news, write reports. And so what I did is that I read and watched the news as much as possible in the languages that I was studying. So being also a tech enthusiast, I imagined Ilini. I designed the concept, and I was so enthusiastic about it that I quit my job to actually launch it as a platform for learners and for teachers. But as I mentioned, I really created it initially from a learner's perspective, with my language learners' desire for cultural immersion. And I created it for French because the whole concept of, giving an insider's perspective of the language meant that as a resource editor and no longer as a learner, I was best placed to do it for my own language. But when I first presented it at the language show in London, which I just mentioned, where I met Joe the first time, it actually was an immediate success with teachers. I had lots of teachers. I met lots of teachers, and I got amazing feedback, and teachers started subscribing. So even though, as I mentioned, I created it from a learner's perspective, Ilini became something that that is now very teacher focused. So as I sometimes say, we are French insiders at your service, at the service of teachers. And that was a long enough personal introduction. I'm now going to show you sort of a bird's eye overview of how Ilini works. As I mentioned, when I created Ilini, we had this great feedback from teachers. We received an award, the Text for Teachers Awards in 2018. We got amazing recognition from various institutions. And one thing I want to mention is that we're planning to launch Spanish and English resources during this year. I think in this webinar, we can start with my demo. I'll show you how videos are organized on Ilini, the kind of interactive and printable activities that we offer, the online classroom and online assignment feature that we offer, that we make available for you. The Ilini search, how to search videos on the website with specific keywords, or if you're looking for specific vocabulary topics or grammar topics as well, then we'll take your questions. But then I would really like it if we could have a discussion on, why use authentic videos? Why are we doing all this? What do students actually enjoy watching? And Joe, you had a tweet last week asking teachers to contribute, and I think we can get those contributions and also discuss the feedback that you got, that I think was really interesting. Are authentic videos good for any level? That's a question we very often have. What tasks can I implement? And really, I think the objective is to have, very practical ideas that you can implement right away at the end of this webinar. So let me just stop my screen sharing for a second, just to give me time to, open my other browser window. And here we are. Joe, can you see my the Ilini website on the screen right now?
We certainly can. Yeah, it looks great.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so quick overview. So here we are on Ilini's homepage. Our job, as I said, is to provide short video clips that teenagers and young adults enjoy watching, from news to culture, pop culture, music, entertainment, YouTubers, etc. So these are videos that our team in France selects every week from the French media, giving you this insider's perspective on current events. And so the homepage looks and feels like a news media platform, actually. You can browse videos by themes and topics, but you can also browse videos by difficulty levels here on the left, and by course specifications and subject content. So we'll discuss later what these difficulty levels mean. And let me focus on the course specification topics here. So for example, if you teach AP French in the US, you can actually browse videos specifically selected for the AP French topics, or contexts as they call them. So you have the 6 course themes, and within each theme you have, for example, personal and public identities. Here you have 6 contexts. Within those contexts, you have subtopics, and under each subtopic we have a list of videos, and as well as a vocabulary selection, and so on. So again, we'll go back to that, but I wanted to show you this way of organizing the videos, not only by general topics, news, etc., but also by topic that help you find some content that is directly relevant to your curriculum. Then on every video, you'll find 2 types of activities. So if I click on one of the latest videos here, this is actually quite an interesting video, quite hard-hitting topic. But what I want to show you here is the features. So you find 2 types of activities here on the right side: online interactive activities, quiz and vocabulary, that I'm going to show you. And below the video, you'll find printable resources, including transcripts, listening activities like fill the gap exercises, phrase puzzles, comprehension quizzes, that you can just download as PDFs, print out, and hand out to your students. So this is also something we can go back to in more detail after the overview. So as far as the interactive activities are concerned, typically you would start by showing a video in class. So you play the video. I'm going to turn off the audio. And so you'll watch the video, and at the end of the video, the quiz starts. So you have an online quiz made of usually 5 comprehension questions, so that you can take with your students in the class. You can also use this quiz in homework assignment, but I'm showing you how to, like the basic usage that you can make of these features in your classroom. I'm just answering randomly, and then you submit your quiz and have your results. When the quiz is done, second activity, you can move on to the vocabulary. This is actually very fun for students. As a student, when I watch a video, I can click on the words and expressions that I don't know, to view their translations and hear their pronunciation. I click here, and every word I click is automatically saved to my own vocab lists and flashcards. So you can see all the words you clicked here on the right, and you can go to your vocabulary list that compiles, gathers all the words that you've clicked in every video that you've watched. This is what you can use as a learner to keep your words in the list. That is the smart list, because when you click on a word, you can Ilini reminds you the context of the video in which you heard the word. And this is actually the core of Ilini's philosophy: learning vocab in context instead of from a dry list of words. And you also have flashcards here to help you review your words, and you can mark your words as known, or mark or say that you don't know the word yet. Another entry point to review your list of watched videos is to review your vocab is your list of watched videos, which reminds you of the words that you've seen in each video here on the right column. So if I go back to the video, we've seen how to use the quiz to improve students' oral understanding, and actually to captivate their attention while watching the video. How to use interactive subtitles and flashcards to learn new vocabulary in context. Also how to download and print out resources for more traditional listening activities in the classroom. One thing I want to show you now is how to create online assignments. So here you have this assignments button. All I have to do is pick my class. So I have already created a couple of classes. Creating a class is actually very, very easy to do, especially if you're familiar with tools like Google Classroom. This is something that I can go back to and show you in more detail later on. But so here I have already created my classes. I invited students to create their free account and join those classes. And so here I click on the button to create an assignment on this video. All I have to do is define the tasks that I want my students to complete. So watch the video by default, of course, answer the quiz, answer my own open question. So I'm just going to write something random here. There are a few more options. You can write some instructions. I'm going to write lorem ipsum here. You can block subtitles if you do not want your students to actually use them while completing the assignment. Then you set a deadline and you publish your assignment. So after the deadline, you may come back here to review your students' work and see whether they've actually watched the video, see their score at the quiz, and etc. And what they answered to your open question. So the list of all your assignments is available here by clicking on the agenda icon here at the top. And you also have a dedicated classroom space for each of your classes. So this is one of my classes. You see your latest assignments, your past assignments, etc. You can click on the Students tab to manage your students from there. You have a link to invite them, etc. Again, I can show you that in more detail later. And so, yeah, assignments are very easy to use for students too. Students create their account on Ilini and they join your class using the invitation you sent them. Maybe I can log in with a student account to show you what it looks like. So for instance, if I log in as Anne, who is one of my students in this classroom, I have a notification here on the assignments icon, and I can see immediately that I have an assignment for Friday, the 11th of March. I click on it, I click on the assignment button, and here I see all the tasks that I need to complete. I need to watch the video, then I need to take the online quiz. Again, let me answer randomly. And then I need to answer the open question, etc. I can save a draft, I can submit it when I'm ready. So yeah, this is again the quick bird's eye view of Ilini that I wanted to show you. Let me just mention that it also works perfectly on mobile, so students can do their homework from anywhere, including from their smartphone. It works very well also on iPads, tablets, etc. So this is it. Maybe, yeah, the one last thing I wanted to show you is how you can use Ilini search, the search bar, to look up occurrences of specific words in all the videos available on the website. So why would you do that? This will actually help you find videos for example, any particular lesson topic you're planning to teach. not only vocabulary, but also grammar. So here is a basic example. For example, let's say that you want to find videos showing real life usage of the word telephone. So you write téléphone en français. And this is going to find you occurrences of this word in different videos. So this is pretty simple example. But what makes Ilini search particularly powerful is that it will also look for inflections of the word you're looking for. So if you type a singular noun, you will find example of the word both in the singular and the plural. So that's pretty convenient if you're planning to teach well the singular and the plural. So for example, if you're looking for cheval, horse, you'll find example with chevaux in the plural. You can similarly, and that's also very useful, if you look up a verb in the infinitive, you will get results, including various conjugated forms. So for instance, I'm looking for real life usage in videos of the verb parler, to speak. So I'll find various conjugated forms. So again, this is great to actually find relevant videos that cover what you're planning to teach. So the possibilities are endless. If you're planning to teach la négation, you can search for ne or pas. Adverbs of time, you can search for bientôt, actuellement, jamais, etc. You can look at personal pronouns, conjunctions, etc. You get the idea. What's interesting is that the search results are grouped by video. So if I'm looking, for example, for par exemple, which means for example, I noticed earlier that there is a video that has like 10 occurrences of par exemple. Yeah, this one, an internship with the president. So if you're planning to tell your students about how to use par exemple, well, a video that has many occurrences of the words that you're looking for is a good candidate for your next lesson. Okay, I hope I didn't go too fast in this overview of the different features. I wanted to keep it brief so that we have time to for your questions, if you want me to go back to specific features, and also to discuss more generally the essence of what we're doing, and again why how do we select the videos, how do we choose them, and what are the criteria for selecting what we think are good videos for use in the French classroom. Joe, over to you. Do we have questions?
We do. Yeah, that's why I turned my video on. We have 3 questions so far, but we've got some lovely comments in the chat as well. For example, Barbara said that's fantastic to be able to search for grammar points on repetitive phrases in videos, which is lovely to see. But let's go for some questions. The first question is if you start this with year 10, so for those people in the US, year 10 would be 14, 15-year-olds. So the year before they take their exam. Does the class list automatically update when students move into year 11?
No, it doesn't automatically update. It is actually up to you to actually select the content that you want to show to your students. So what we do is we have lists that are relevant for different curriculum and course specifications. So, but but it's a fun feature idea actually.
So would a teacher be able to just rename a class? Is that what?
Yeah, but yes. Okay, if that's the question, yes, absolutely. You can rename the class.
Yeah,
for sure. And probably maybe you won't have exactly the same students as the previous year. Sure. You can remove some students, add others, or you can create an entirely new class. This you can do. I thought the question was about like automatic video suggestions for the students that would adapt to students, but Anyway,
That would be lovely. But my
yeah.
understanding is, I'll just read the whole question again. If you start this with year 10, does the class list automatically update when students move into year 11? So I think that's
Okay.
the issue.
Okay. Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that the way you phrased it. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, you can rename the class. I think that would address the issue.
Awesome. And can I just check as well, the names of the students you were showing there, those are just those are adults, aren't they? They're not real children, is that right?
Yeah, no, they're not real children.
Okay.
No,
Just to
that's
check
dummy
from a
data, just
GDPR
for
point
the
of view.
demo. Yeah, sure. You can don't need to blur them on the
No,
report.
that's all right. Cool. Okay, let's do another question. Are the videos categorized by language proficiency level, e.g., A1, A2, or low, high?
Yeah. So here's my answer. I mean, that's a key question where I'm constantly being asked about this, obviously, for obvious reasons. So let me explain. The videos are organized by level. We named those levels somewhat. I mean, we can always discuss whether it's appropriately named, but I'll tell you the reasoning. They're categorized as beginner level, intermediate, and advanced. Beginner would actually mean from A2, intermediate B1 and B2, and advanced C1 and C2. Now, beginner is sometimes, perhaps a bit misleading because, I mean, it's hard to use authentic videos with, new beginners, like with someone who has never been exposed to French. I mean, obviously, authentic videos by nature, because of the nature of the language, of real life spoken language, are, a bit hard. I mean, but for us, the issue with levels is actually it's actually two things. There's the level of the video, and this is how we categorize them. Like, we look at the difficulty of the vocabulary, whether language is actually clear and articulate in the video, and this is how we organize them. But the difficulty level when using authentic videos also has to do, and perhaps even more, with the level of the task that you set. In other words, what I mean is, you can use a difficult video and actually implement an easy task, So, for instance, you can, and I have a slide actually, so I could because I expected that we would address the issue of, what kind of tasks can you do, and for what difficulty level. So maybe shall I develop this a little bit? Like,
let's we've got some other questions, but I think that'd be good. Yeah, let's do that if that's okay.
Because again, so for me, the issue is, of course, the difficulty, the intrinsic difficulty of the video, but also the difficulty level of the task that you set. So I need to skip some slides, but
that's okay, no problem at all.
And so you can perfectly, and this is actually feedback we got from teachers who do that, who use Ilini and who do that, and we got those ideas from them. So, for example, you can show a video that would be too difficult for your students, but one thing you can do is, for instance, turn off the audio, play the video, and ask students a simple question: What is this video about? What do you think this is about? What is the topic? Another thing you can do is you play the audio only, and you ask them what kind of document this is. Is it a news report? Is it a documentary? Is it an interview? So you can have like simple listening activities with, difficult videos. Another thing you can do is that some teachers told me they're doing is, you play the video and you ask students to note down the words that they recognize, that they know, and that they hear. An alternative of this is you provide a list of words beforehand, and you ask them to tick the words that they hear. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is, even though authentic videos are intrinsically not easy, you can set adequate tasks. And I think that's actually the most important challenge when working with authentic videos and resources in general, is to set the right level of tasks. The last bullet point I have here is introduce the topic with an image. I'm actually going to show you how we suggest to do that on Ilini. For instance, if you take the the AP French collection of videos that I mentioned earlier, let me see something that would be beliefs and values. Well, let's take a random one. You can what we suggest is if you find it appropriate, is before actually watching a video and working on the vocabulary and etc. and doing more advanced listening activities, etc. You can actually click on the illustration here and ask students to comment, and we have suggested questions on the side, like à votre avis, in your opinion, where is this? What is happening here on this image? Who are the characters? Who do you see? What are they doing? So what is this all about? So this is also one of the ways, one of the tasks, one of the activities that can be used to introduce authentic videos in a gentle manner. Because obviously, the issue with authentic resources and video in particular is that if you're not gentle enough, or if you're doing if the task is too complicated, you can create a lot of frustration, and this is not what you do. You want to be using authentic content to actually engage students and motivate them, not frustrate them. So okay, I'll stop here. I have other things to do about like suggested tasks and so on. But
should we do another?
That was a long
questions?
answer to the level question.
Fantastic. Should we do another couple of questions? Is that
Yeah,
right?
sure,
I think that was a really good answer. That was good. Can I, before we do that as well, can I just ask, with each video, can you automatically generate a transcript if you wanted to do, say, a pre-listening activity? Can you generate a transcript for each video? Is that right?
Yeah. So there is a transcript for every video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's available. So I'll show you where to find it. So this is the latest video by Arte Junior, by the way. This is a great source of content for all of you, especially for secondary students, covering the news in clear language. It's very good. And especially for a difficult topic like this one, this is I think a good video to use. But the question about the transcript, you'll find the transcript in PDF here, just below the video. This is the first PDF you'll find, and you'll just have to click on it, download it, and then you use it and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you. We've got some more questions as well coming in right now. Keep them coming. That's brilliant. I will copy them into my Google Doc. So the next question is, is there a limit to how many students can access Ilini? There's no technical limits. Then there is a question of with the pricing. This is the issue of pricing. So let me show you our pricing structure, which you'll find here in the top bar. So we offer subscriptions, either monthly or yearly subscription. In principle, so usually when you subscribe to the teacher plan, you have 20 students included, and then additional student costs in dollars, I think, because it's not shown here because there is a promotion, a special offer. But usually it's $2.50 per year per additional student. That's the base price. In addition to the 20 free student account that you have with your teacher account.
Now we have a special offer that is actually there to stay, which is that for individual teachers, we offer unlimited students. So you don't have to pay any additional price for students beyond your 20 students. But this is for individual teachers because we wanted to find a way to make it affordable for teachers who have to pay from their own pocket. And for small schools as well. You know, if you're a small school and you have 2 or 3 teachers, we apply this pricing. But we apply the normal pricing to school districts, for example, in the US where they have budgets. And this is how we find a balance between, you know, being affordable for individual teachers and applying our normal pricing for larger organizations.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. On a similar note, we have a question around. Well, do you have a departmental account for all staff, or does every member of staff have a different one? How would that work if you had, say, a department of, say, 6 teachers and they all wanted to use Ilini? Would they have a departmental account, or would they have to take out an individual account?
You would have to. I mean, accounts are individual.
Yep.
So one teacher, one account. It also makes sense also when you start using the features, when you start creating your classes, inviting your students, you don't want to, you know, mess up with your colleagues' classes and etc. So one teacher, one account. Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you. Okay, so we had just a quick question here. When you say Ilini search is used to find videos, are they only videos that Ilini have worked on, or are there, you know, videos in general on the internet?
These are videos on Ilini, available with the resources that we generate and provide. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. We've got some more questions around pricing. Surprise, surprise. Why do you have monthly pricing? Does it work out cheaper to subscribe for the year? Great question.
So it's cheaper to subscribe for the year because then you save 2 months basically.
Okay, fantastic.
You know, in euro here, or maybe should I switch to dollars or pounds, whatever I find first. United States. Okay, it's, you know, $14.99 per month and $149 per year. So it's times 10 instead of times 12.
Fantastic. On a similar point, Barbara's asking, can you subscribe for only 1 month, or is there a longer commitment?
Sure. No, there's no commitment. You can subscribe for only 1 month. And you know, you can, as the tagline says.
Fantastic, lovely. Can I ask everyone to mute their microphones? I've been going through manually muting people, but please don't turn your microphones on in the session. That'd be great. Would it be possible? Another question: would it be possible to have interactive worksheets to be completed online? So far, it is necessary to print the worksheet. So I suppose you could use an annotation tool. Right. Can you not turn on your microphones, please? Thank you. Sorry, Benjamin, do you want to answer that question?
So some activities are online and interactive, like the quiz that students can complete online as part of an assignment, answering your questions as well. Then the PDFs, some of the activities are in our roadmap for, you know, we're going to transform them into interactive activities like the Fill the Gap. You will soon be able to actually fill the gaps online and include that activity as part of an assignment.
Lovely. We had a question around the number of videos on the platform and how long is their shelf life.
So we have at the moment, I believe we have almost 600 videos, or maybe more actually. I haven't seen the count. We publish new videos every week. And in terms of shelf life, some of them are news. So obviously they will somehow expire, even though last week I had a teacher who told me she was working on the video of the 2017 presidential election in France. And I told her, look, we have new videos. And she told me, no, but that's fine. I want to work on the context and I want to work on that one. So we don't remove the videos. So they remain available. But some, I mean, those that are pure news obviously will sort of, I mean, the interest that you'll have for the topic will probably sort of expire or go down with time. But we don't only select news. I mean, we also have, so we have culture, tourism, music, entertainment, sports, social issues, etc. Work in France. I haven't shown you this. This is something we've developed recently. We added more content on work in France. So everything that has to do with professional life, preparing a CV, etc. So this type of content, for example, doesn't sort of expire. This is always good. So technically, no content, nothing expires. It remains on the platform. But if the question is, you know, whether you know, the interest that you may have in all the videos will remain the same as time goes, the answer is yeah, news videos have a shelf life, a limited shelf life. But so we do that on purpose. We want to cover both current events, because this is, you know, it's engaging, it's what people talk about, and learning language is about, you know, taking part in conversations, but also having content that teachers do not have to change every year. You know, if you prepare a lesson around a resource, you don't want to change it too often because it's work. So yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's nice to have some very up-to-date contemporary content, but also have some evergreen content that you can go back and catch when you want to. That's brilliant. We've got some more questions, if it's okay. Also, people have been asking me if they came in late, can they watch the recording? Yes, you'll be able to watch the recording on my YouTube channel, which is Joe Dale 100. So if you do a search for Joe Dale 100 on YouTube, you'll find this recording, hopefully either by this evening or by tomorrow morning at the latest. So don't worry if you came in a bit late. I appreciate how these things work. A great question in relation to synchronous and asynchronous learning, which is the following. Do you use this in class or only for the students to do on their own? If in class, how do you lead a lesson if they're at different stages in the task? That's a great question. What would you say to that, Benjamin?
So first part of the question, the answer is you can do both. You can use it in the classroom, face-to-face, and as a homework assignment, or as an assignment, you know, in the class, where, you know, students would work on assignments, you know, on their own, and then you would discuss it. So most teachers use our resources to actually introduce a topic, start a lesson. Like, for example, I mean, to create conversations, to sort of trigger students' interests on a topic with, you know, some current content, contemporary content. You know, like right there, we have a video on Valentine's Day, which is a bit more sort of lighter than war breaks out in Ukraine. So yeah, so usually teachers I mean, many teachers tell us that they use videos to start a discussion. So either at the beginning of a lesson or at the end of a lesson, to sort of open up a discussion on something. And in terms of how you would lead, I mean, it's really up to you. Like, we don't have a predefined structure. We do not impose anything. Our job is really to give resources that will save you time, that you won't have to prepare. You won't have to write a transcript. You won't have to come up with comprehension questions. You won't have to prepare your own fill the gap activities and so on. But it's really up to you to, you know, insert them into your lesson plan the way you want to do it. What I can share is, you know, the feedback we get from teachers, how they do it. So for instance, earlier in the webinar, I explained like the sort of simple, no prep task that you can do with a video, like play the video without the audio and then ask what is the video about, all these things. So these would be, for example, like starter tasks that you can do at the beginning of a video to not go, you know, to not sort of expose right away students to something that could be too complex for them. And then you could move on with one of those worksheets that you see here, like with the fill the gap activity or with the comprehension quiz. And again, the comprehension quiz, you can actually set you can adjust the level. For example, you can allow your students to actually use the subtitles when they watch the video or not. So you can really, I think the point I'm trying to make is really that we're giving you a set of resources that allow you to adapt to the level of your students. And this is really up to you to sort of, I think what's important is to sort of phase in to go progressively, gradually with have 1, 2, or 3 tasks that will help you work with the video. And I think what's important as well is, so you start with this sort of basic listening activities, starting with easy one and then sort of level up. But I think what's important is to finish with really use those videos to create conversations in the classroom. Like we really select those the videos based on, I mean, it's an essential criteria. One of the essential criteria is whether those videos can generate interest and generate discussions.
Fantastic, lovely. I think we've literally just got a one question here at the end there, which I will quickly put to you if that's okay. But then we've done all the questions, and we'd love to see some other ideas. And you were talking about like the tweets we had earlier on, the question that we put up, that worked really, really well. But so I just ask you this question first of all, if that's okay. So to create a class, do you necessarily need to put the students' email addresses in? For example, I teach an adult class online on Teams. How can I get the students to work in pairs? Or is it possible for them to be able to work in pairs on Ilini?
Working in pairs. How would that work? I would perhaps need. So we do not have a work in pairs feature.
Yeah.
But there's probably a way to make it work if I understand exactly like the use case, what would be the activity that they would be asked to do. So for instance, if I mean, the difficulty here is it's being online. So working in pair online, it really depends what you ask them to do. But we do suggest as part of I just mentioned using videos to create conversations. And this is something that's, for instance, I see here the dossier, the collection of videos on Black Lives Matter in France. This is a good example of topic that is good for, I mean, that is important and that, students, young people are interested in. And that is great, I think, to create conversations because, for example, a student in the US will relate to this topic and will not necessarily know that there are Black Lives Matter demonstrations in France. And therefore, you'll think, oh, but what's, then you will wonder about the context. But what's the context there? Why is this happening? What does it mean? And then you will compare it to your context. And this is where, very interesting conversations can happen because then you will, ask questions, make assumptions. I mean, you'll try to find out more. And to go back to the initial question, what do we suggest, especially with this type of topics on social issues, etc., is to form groups in the classroom where students can also discuss among themselves in smaller groups, and then you go back to the bigger group and students smaller groups share their work. I had a good example but I will need to find it. There was this we had a series of videos. Where is it?
Just while you're doing that, presumably you could set a separate task for different breakout rooms. Say if you're using a tool like Microsoft Teams or Zoom, you could assign different exercises to different breakout rooms based on people's ability or interest or what have you. Exactly.
That's the way it would work, definitely. I'm looking for this. Anyways, I wanted to show you an example also of the kind of tasks that you can do in smaller groups and then with the whole group. But and I had this, have something in mind, but I can't find it. Sorry. It's a series of videos. We have three French teenagers who we have three video clips, each of one character, one person, aged 17, 18, who speak about their how they see politics. They talk about politics and their relation to politics, and it's really interesting. We've had teachers use that to actually form smaller groups, as I mentioned, and each group would pick a different a video with a person, and then they would work on it, and then they would explain to the other groups. Let's call one of them Thomas. Thomas' perception of and political attitude and perception of politics and etc. to the other group. And so this I think is the type of activity that combines the fact that it's very personal, so it's a personal video, it's someone they can relate to. It's a good exercise because they need to understand what the person says, and then they need to compare also the political context of France to their own political context, and then to explain it. So it's a great exercise.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Lovely. We've just got one more question, if it's okay, from Anne, which is students of a class can only see assigned videos, or can they only see assigned videos, or can they log in and browse all the videos?
So no, they can access free videos, those that are accessible to everyone, because there's also free. You can create a free account on Ilini and access a number of free videos, and they can access the assigned videos, not the others. But you can assign as many videos as you want.
Awesome.
But this is actually necessary if you want. I mean, for us to. I mean, it is necessary that all the other videos be blocked. Otherwise, they would be able to access the quiz answers, for example, before you assign them.
Yeah.
So that is why we did it in such a way.
Fantastic, lovely. So those are all the questions so far. I'd love to see the other parts of the presentation you were showing us. We'll go on to we've got a question about student data, which we'll cover in a minute. But I think let's see some more content, and we'll do some more questions at the end, if that's okay.
Yeah. So let me see. Okay, so I'll just go through some of the slides that I had that I made, anticipating some of the issues in the discussion. And so, what is a good authentic resource? I mean, it's not for me to tell, but again, this is. What I mean is that this is not the ultimate answer, but. And we touched upon some of the things already in this slide earlier in the conversation, but I thought it would be interesting to actually reflect on why use authentic resources and what is a good authentic resource, what is a good authentic video, because very often we think, oh, this it must be entertaining, it must be fun, and because you need to captivate the audience, you need to capture the attention. And this is definitely part of it, but it's not all of it, and that's why we came up with this 3 E's: entertain, engage, educate, which is something that we have in mind when we scan videos available in the French media on YouTube, etc. We try to sort of tick all these criteria. So yes, a video, it's great if it's entertaining, if it is visually appealing, if it is music that is enjoyable, or if it is a short movie with a good story plot, or if it is fun, because yes, it captures the attention, but this should not only be what you're looking for. You also want a resource to be engaging, and by this we mean creating conversations. I talked about this earlier, and it's does the video deal with an issue that students can relate to. Remember the Black Lives Matter videos that I mentioned, or you know, videos on the environment, or on politics, or on things that or life at high school in France, and how does it compare with my life? You know, this is really something that is engaging in the sense that it will lead students to talk, and this is what you want in a language class, right? Also videos that are inspirational, that will generate this little spark in the students, and they will think, wow, I don't know, Thomas Pesquet, the astronaut, the French astronaut, who was in the International Space Station, things like that. This is engaging, and it should, of course, educate, make learning happen. This means that, you know, it needs to fit in your curriculum. It needs to include relevant vocabulary or grammar topics, and this is what I showed earlier as well, how to use Ilini's tools to actually find things that are directly relevant for your course structure, for your lesson plan, etc. So this is one of the slides that I had prepared, but more interestingly, I think, and that follows what I just said, is this question, you know, what do pupils actually love watching? What do they like watching? Because of course, one of the big challenges is that, you know, you need to adapt, and you need to find, there's no just one single answer. And this is definitely what we saw with all the answers that you got to this tweet last week. Can you share an authentic resource that your pupils loved? I'm going to share maybe the link to that tweet so that the audience can directly browse and see everything that was shared. But this was a really great Twitter thread where you can find lots of inspiration. I have sort of made a summary to just to go quickly through the different ideas. But my apologies for not mentioning all the, you know, the source of every single idea. Again, it will be available on the link that I will share. So let's start with the videos, because this is what we're talking about. There was someone mentioned movie trailer, Sur le chemin de l'école. Again, yeah, movie trailers, we have a lot of them on Ilini. This is usually a really good format. There was a video on Brut video. Brut is a new media with short, very sort of hard-hitting videos. This was on a migrant who was learning la boulangerie, how to make bread in France. Lots of things. This is a great example of there's lots of cultural aspects to unpack. There is a personal story, so this is engaging. The format is great. So I can understand why this teacher mentioned this video. Someone mentioned Trop Trop, which is dessin animé. I think what's interesting with this suggestion, of course, it's for younger pupils, but what's interesting is to use a series or videos that exist in your language, so in English, and show it to pupils in French, and just that, this is something that they will think about. They're like, oh, this is something I know, but it's in French, so they can relate to it, and they will be happy to watch it in French. There was a great suggestion I didn't know about, Patrick and Friends. It's also an animated videos that on lots of different issues, including the environment, which was really great. Un jour une question, very well known. We have plenty of them also on Ilini. National Geographic videos, very visually appealing, beautiful images, very short clips, great content, because there's lots to talk about, lots that, you know, topics that students, young people are interested in and feel concerned about the environment, etc. Tourist videos, also someone mentioned, that's something we definitely have on Ilini. Music, I found all the music suggestions very interesting as well. There was, I mean, Big Flo, Oli, Stromae, Soprano. I think they're like the top three that we see these days, like on Ilini. Actually, we have lots of them, but also on teachers' forums, on Facebook and in other places. I think students love them because again, it's the comparison element. It's well, it's enjoyable music. Obviously, it's pop music. It's very rhythmic and so on. But it's also, I think, showing young people, young students, what is trendy in another country, and then you compare. And again, comparing is I think the best source of discussion. And then there was like a variety of things, because of course authentic resources are not only videos. There was Mon Quotidien infographics. It's a newspaper for teenagers. Navigating a French website also is I found it very interesting, because it's like traveling. You're on French territory but online. So it's the experience, I think, that you can offer through an authentic resource. Same with the French school menu, and look at the similarities and differences. I'm sure there are plenty of differences between the French school menu and an English school menu, and etc. Following Twitter accounts, that was definitely a classroom that was interested in politics. Twitter accounts of politicians. There was an interesting one. You'll have to look at the Twitter thread to understand it, on the Petit Beurre biscuits. Reading about French apps in the App Store, again, spotting the differences. So I think for me, it was interesting to sort of collect all these suggestions. First of all, because from a very practical point of view, there's lots of things that you can use in your classroom in this list, but also to sort of verify our little theory of criteria of what's important in an authentic resource, and this sort of three verbs, the three E's: entertain, engage, educate. I think all those resources, all those suggestions that we had in as answers to your question on Twitter were definitely ticking at least two of those three criteria every time.
Super.
What did you think?
More.
What did you think, Joe? Were you happy? Did you agree with the suggestions that you got?
Yeah. I was really impressed by the number of replies that we had, and loved seeing all the different suggestions, not only for intermediate, say Key Stage 4 and an A level, but also for younger ones as well. I thought it was a typical example of how the community likes to share ideas. In this particular example around good authentic resources, I thought it was really, really brilliant. Yeah, it was great.
Great. Yeah, I loved it as well.
Superb. Have we got time for another couple of questions? Is that okay?
Sure, definitely. I'm just leaving this slide here with my email, if because we're nearing the end of the webinar. I mean, I'm still available for questions, but there's my email here. If anyone has to leave or wants to ask other questions, I'm available by email.
Fantastic, lovely. So we got a lovely question about data, which is the following: my multiple academy trust is very protective of student data, so that when new online providers are used, we need to fill in paperwork for where the data is saved. What kind of protection is in place for the data on Ilini?
So this would be a very technical discussion, but we're very familiar with this issue. We have a number of large districts in the US with whom we've signed a contract and personal data agreements with. So we've never had any problems like going through all this legal stuff and so on. But also the easy answer to that is that yes. So I showed you how with the online classroom, you invite students and they create an account, so they leave their email address and personal data on our servers. Again, we do that in a perfectly legal way, so there's no problem. But if you don't even want to have to consider this, you can also use Ilini without your students creating an account on Ilini. So this is a new feature that we're rolling out this week. Actually, you can share assignments with a simple email address with a code, and your students can use this URL to access the assignments. They do not need to create an account. They do not need to give us their email address. they will just write a name. And actually, you could even tell them to, if even writing a name is a problem, you can have a nickname or something that doesn't identify them, like a turtle or or whatever animal, and that's fine. So we have a solution also for you to completely bypass the issue with personal data if you want to go faster, if you do not want to have to involve your legal department and everything. You can also use Ilini with your students online without them giving us any personal data.
That's superb. Fantastic. Lovely. Well, I think it's been a really, really interesting webinar. Thank you so much. I love the entertain. I've written it down: entertain, engage, and educate. I think those are fantastic criteria to think about the use of authentic resources. Thank you so much, Benjamin.
There's a fourth one. There's a fourth one, which is
okay, go on.
A fourth E, which is empower. But I could expand on that. But learning a language is empowering. So.
And what a way to finish. That's a lovely statement. That's absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much to Benjamin. Thank you so much to all the attendees that have come along this evening.
Thank you very much.
Your fantastic questions around onboarding and data and the use of authentic materials. It's been really, really fascinating. It's been absolutely fantastic. And I will, as always, upload the recording onto my YouTube channel. You can see in the chat we've got I'll read some of the comments out now. Fantastic webinar, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for really looking forward. Thank you for this. Really looking forward to sharing with my heads of department in my mat. This one's great from Helen. Thanks, Benjamin and Joe. I need to go before the caretaker locks me in the classroom for the night. Look forward to watching the video. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Yeah, so it's been really, really interesting discussion and presentation, and just you can watch it back as many times as you want to. You can get in contact with Benjamin if you have any more questions, and feel free to share the recording with as many people as possible in the US, in the UK, anywhere in the world. It would be great. And I can see we've got another couple of messages. I just want to make sure that I said everything. Oh yeah, so Anne is saying excellent. Would love to have the same for Spanish. As Benjamin
soon.
was saying, Spanish is coming in, and I'm sure that over time the number of resources for Spanish will increase at a pace. And lovely, some lovely comments in the chat. Wonderful.
So nice.
Oh, great. So I will stop recording now if that's okay.